take any responsibility for the inflation in this country? Do you take any responsibility for your policies?
I think our policies help, not hurt.
President Biden taking zero responsibility for record high inflation and actually claims he's helping Americans. Somebody at the White House forgot to tell Biden the facts and the polls say otherwise. Americans are getting crushed by an avalanche of economic disasters. Gas prices just hit another record high today. More Americans are struggling to make ends meet, and parents can't even find baby formula. The president making it clear he has no plan to fix all the problems, and instead, he's blaming the usual suspects.
There are two leading causes of inflation we're seeing today. The first cause of inflation is a once-in-a-century pandemic. A second cause, Mr. Putin's war in Ukraine. We saw in March that 60% of inflation that month was due to price increases at the pump.
Biden also hammering this phantom Ultra-MAGA agenda the GOP hasn't even signed on to, while pushing a talking point the Washington Post has called a lie.
Senator Rick Scott, of Wisconsin, a member of the Senate Republican leadership, laid it all out. The Ultra-MAGA plan put forward by congressional Republicans to raise taxes on working families, lower the income of American workers. I never expected the Ultra-MAGA Republicans who seem to control the Republican Party now to have been able to control the Republican Party.
I want to listen to what Dana has to say about Ultra-MAGA, but first let's listen to what Jen Psaki had to say about how this whole phrase came to be.
Is the president's phrase, and the president made those comments himself just last week, as you know. And I think what has struck him is how extreme some of the policies and proposals are that a certain wing of the Republican Party that is taking up too much of the Republican Party are for. So to him, adding a little ultra to it, give it a little extra pop.
Is he giving it a little extra pop, Dana?
I can't stand it because I feel like you're walking down this aisle at the convenience store or the CVS and looking for something that would say Ultra-MAGA, and it's gross to me. I can't stand it, and I can't get it out of my head.
What product are you talking?
I want them to stop. And just because he comes out and says Ultra-MAGA 20 times is not going to make inflation go away. They can also say Rick Scott 100,000 times. That guy is eating alone at the lunch table. Basically, there's nobody in the Republican Party that signed on to his plan. He can have his plan, and he has every right to try to push it. But by no means does the Ultra-MAGA group actually support it. That's absurd. Also, they say that Rick Scott wants to raise taxes, and that's so extreme. They want to raise taxes. Why don't they jump on board the Rick Scott agenda? The choice versus a referendum. That's exactly what you're going to hear me say 100 times. As many times as they say Ultra-MAGA, I am going to say that because they know this from the Obama-Biden years of 2010 and 2014, where they lost seats. If it's a choice between Biden or Trump, that's what the team wants here. That's what the Biden team wants. But everybody is dealing with inflation every single day. It's a referendum on the president. That's what the midterms are about. They can try to make it a choice. It's going to be very difficult. Last thing, if I, as a communications person, was planning on having my boss go out and give a big speech about lowering gas prices, and I wake up in the morning and all the headlines are like, oh, AAA just said it's the record high gas prices. And you actually come out and you have built something as a new plan, and you give an entire speech that has nothing new in it. Then you have lost the confidence of the people who are turning to you, hoping that you will provide them some relief, and they know it is not coming.
Greg Gutfeld. Why do you look so impish?
I think what you're trying to say about Ultra-MAGA is that it's a Trojan horse.
Exactly what I'm trying to say.
I was holding that in for so long.
Oh, you should have jumped in. That's a good one.
But no, so and then you have Senator Scott, right, responding. And Senator Scott, this is like really harsh. It's even harsh by my standards. He said that Biden is incapacitated, incoherent. He's unwell. He's unfit. He's confused. He's incapable. Those are all the words Rick Scott used. And it's like somebody threw a can of paint on Biden and nobody's helping him wipe it off. It's like there's no responses to that. Biden just responded and said Rick Scott's not well. But it's like nobody is bothering to defend him because all of those things could be argued persuasively. And I'm with you about this MAGA phrase. I think it shows how little game they have that no one's picking it up and they're just laughing at it. It's definitely not "Let's Go Brandon," which was genius because of its subterfuge, and also, I mean, it's not visual like Crooked Harry. Crooked Harry?
Crooked Harry. Dirty Harry.
Dirty Harry. So anyway, it's like a loser who chooses their own nickname and nobody's picking it up. The problem with Joe is that Joe actually looks great in his suit. When he puts on the bomber jacket and the aviator glasses, he looks like the head of the airplane flight crew who's gotten mistaken as the pilot. You know, he should be welcoming the passengers and messing up the kid's hair and giving the little wings to the little girl. He should not be in the cockpit. And that's the problem. The Democrats have realized he's in the cockpit. You got to get him out.
Yeah, there's no game with Ultra-MAGA. And I don't think if you are MAGA, you're not like, oh, Ultra-MAGA, he got me. Janine, how do you think this is going to play?
I don't think it's going to play at all. And what I want to know is, I mean, he says his policies have helped more than they've hurt. I mean, where's the disinformation board when you really need it? I mean, you know, nothing that he says is true. And this Ultra-MAGA plan, I mean, besides the fact that Ultra is supposed to, like, gin it up and tee it up so you can really hate. If you hate MAGA, you really hate Ultra-MAGA. You know, but I spoke to several senators, and they said nobody signed on to Rick Scott's plan. Nobody. And that means nobody. It's never going to make the floor. Mitch McConnell doesn't like it. Rick Scott's a junior senator from Florida. Who cares? So Joe Biden is comparing his plan to nothing. But what makes me crazy about Biden is he says, we're going to plan to reduce the prescription drug prices. You are? Well, do it. You've got the House, you've got the Senate, you've got the Oval. When are you going to do this stuff? All he can do is he's just sharpening the rhetoric toward the Republicans, and everybody says, but gas still costs now $4 or $5, depending upon where you live. Nothing's changed.
Did you see anything different in the speech today, besides the sharp partisan attacks?
Well, we're getting into political season. Right. We're heavy into it. I do think this Ultra-MAGA thing, your views around the table are all respectable and understandable, but I think it could be something that sticks. If you look at what happened in Ohio, J.D. Vance wins the primary. More than 2/3 of the Republicans voted against J.D. Vance in that primary. Rick Scott, he's the head of the Republican Senate Campaign Committee. He's a junior senator, but he's been tasked with, and Dana and I both know that role. That is a role that is important to Republicans winning back the Senate this go round. If he has a plan that differs from Mitch McConnell, if there were a Democrat that had a different plan than Biden, we would be talking about it negatively, rightly so, and I'd be criticizing it. This guy has a different plan than Mitch McConnell, who I think is as effective a minority leader and arguably a majority leader as we've seen. Look, we need to be honest. The pandemic and the war have increased fuel and energy prices. I would have respected the president's message even more, been more credible if he'd said, look, we're going to increase energy production here at home. Oil and natural gas production have to be up tier as we think about how we, going forward, address these challenges and eventually get to a green energy platform in the country. But until then, we've got to produce more fossil fuels. And last, we ought to raise taxes on billionaires. Anybody that's not for that ought to be ashamed of themselves. If I were, I'd be happy to pay more taxes. We ought to raise the carried interest tax. Democrats, this is one thing I agree with you about. We've had the majorities for a while. Democrats have had the majorities in the House and Senate. Obama had it, and now Biden. And they've yet to raise taxes they've yet to raise the carried interest tax. That's the tax that allows a group of investors who are investing other people's money to enjoy a different tax when they make money. When I make money, I pay regular taxes. Democrats raise that one first. But I got to tell you, I'm not at all mad about this Ultra-MAGA thing. It might stick. And if
you think that's going to stick?
It might. And if it doesn't stick, it ought to go to something else.
I mean, if it's going to stick, then MAGA people will just say, great, I'm Ultra-MAGA, great. And then, and then what are they going to call? Then what's the next level? After Ultra.
They want to try to
extra
squad.
wide.
They want to try to pull it. They're trying to do the squad.
Yeah.
The way the Republicans were able to nail the squad.
Exactly.
They're trying to do that with Ultra-MAGA.
Exactly. It's not going to work.
But you're right.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.